Yo, welcome to another episode of the BJJ Goons podcast. I'm your host, Tim, the MUSHMASTER Spriggs, and with me as always every week is...
Yo, what's up, everybody? It's Nico Ball. No new Nico. Glad to be back.
Yes, it's good to be back. Good to see you good folks here. What's new with you, Nico?
What's not new with me? Nothing's new. I got the same problems, the same struggles, still dealing with everything in Rio, but in a couple of weeks, I'm going to be dealing with problems in Rio from Rio. So I at least get to look forward to that. Stressing out on the beach is a lot nicer than stressing out trying to find parking in DC.
I'd rather cry on the beach than cry in the cicada-ridden streets of the DMV, for sure.
Yo, the cicadas over here, because I'm in the city. I'm in Washington, D.C., and then Tim lives in the suburbs, but closer to Baltimore. And
Yeah.
just leaving the city, the cicada situation is completely different. I've walked past at least 50 dead cicadas to get into the studio.
It's way too many. They're like rats with wings.
Yo,
Well, those are pigeons, but the cicadas are definitely a pest, and I can't wait till they all die or go underground for another 17 years.
How long are they normally out for?
They're going to be here until the end of July.
The end of July?
Yes,
Okay, well,
maybe
in a
earlier.
couple of weeks, in a week, that's going to be your problem.
Yeah, because Nico, you're going on vacation.
It's not a vacation. It's a work trip. It's a work trip. I had to make an appointment with the Policía Federal because on top of, let me just tell you, y'all, I'm eventually just going to open a Swiss bank account just to say I have a Swiss bank account because it sounds gangster, like off that capo thing. Hollywood Mike ain't the only one that can be out there doing that kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But before the Swiss bank account came a Brazilian bank account. So, I have a Brazilian social security card, or social security number, which allowed me to open a bank account.
Mm-hmm.
But since recently they came up with photo IDs for foreigners, so I have my money locked in a Brazilian bank account, like a couple thousand reais or whatever, and I need to go down there, see the federal police, deal with all this, and get a photo ID so I can get my money out.
Wow, you're doing like real deal business and business things.
Yeah, I do business. Everybody thinks I'm because I have dreadlocks that I sell bracelets or weed on the beach and stuff. I have real jobs. I have W-2s. I have degrees.
Never judge a book by its cover.
Never that. So what's new with you? You coming with me? What you been up to? Going to Atlanta? Any updates?
I haven't gotten any updates. I'm supposed to be teaching at the military bases down by Savannah. And you know how the government is. They're always slow to act. It's a whole bunch of bureaucratic red tape. But I'm going to just speak it into existence that it's going to go down and it's going to be very successful. I'm hoping and praying that I get some kind of schedule so that I can plan meeting you guys down there because not only you, but Muhammad will be down there for the finale of the BJJ Stars, the new star.
Yeah, that's gonna be amazing. They have an amazing lineup down there in Sao Paulo. And it's incredible because there was another competition that was last weekend in Brazil, and a lot of the people that are going to be on the new stars, like Gilberto, they were competing, and they were just crushing. They were killing it. It was amazing. I guess competitions in the U.S., they've been happening kind of frequently now, but in Brazil, it's been really hard. They'll try to schedule the competitions, and then I know in Rio, at least, apparently to have a competition, you need to ask permission from the condado or the state. So sometimes they'll give you permission to do the event and sometimes they won't. So that's why sometimes there are competitions happening in Rio, but they'll have mandates that academies can't open. It's just really weird. So it's been hard to have consistent competitions there, but now they're starting to pick back up, like the AJP Tour in Brusques, which is in Santa Catarina, and I guess there's another one in Gramada in Brazil, and somebody was telling me at the end of August before I slide out, there's supposed to be one in Rio, so that should be interesting.
That is going to be a banger of an event. And you were talking about them competing this past weekend. Talk a little bit about some of the matches that you saw and that were some interesting matchups because it was a star-studded event in, how do you say, Brusque?
Brusque, yeah. I have never even heard of that. I kept calling it Santa Catarina because I didn't want to be Brussels sprouts, Bruque, yeah, Brusque. So
Before we go continue, I just want to move this because it offends you. If you guys aren't watching the YouTube one, I have a Steelers blanket, and for some reason, it offends Nico. You're an Eagles fan, correct?
Not even like so. I'm a Cowboys fan, which makes it even worse. I get
Oh
all the hate.
man. Oh, I should put this back up on here then. I can't listen to somebody that its team hasn't won a Super Bowl in this century. But you know what? Continue, Nico. I'm
Yeah.
gonna let it
All
slide
right.
today.
Fine. All right. So we're gonna start out with the ladies because the ladies don't get enough shine and enough credit.
No.
I don't have all of the results. You can watch all of these fights, which is dope, on the AJP Tour YouTube channel. Unfortunately, if you don't know how to find the brackets or know what mat the fighter was on, I believe the only way to watch the fights is to go through like the whole days and the whole mats. So the only way I was able to get recordings of the fights that I have and was able to put up on the Favela Jiu-Jitsu YouTube channel. So on Favela Jiu-Jitsu, you could find Yara Suarez's final with Gabi Passagna. You can find May's final with Iago George. And
Gilberto.
Gilberto's final will be up there. Like, I was having power issues and internet issues. So I have those matches, and I'll put them up so you can find them. But if not, I assume they might go through and make some edits, but you can go and check out their YouTube and find the fights. But one really awesome finals match that happened on Sunday with the ladies was Anna Rodriguez from Dream Art and Gabby Fletcher from Checkmat. They were having an amazing match in the finals, and Anna got her head all banged up. She had to be like wrapped up, and eventually Gabby got DQ'd. So Anna won because of that, but she had some amazing matches throughout the competition.
I saw the injury on Instagram, and it's gonna leave a very gnarly scar.
Yo, she has 4 stitches, yo. 4 stitches.
I mean, it just cut up that pretty face of hers.
Hey, like, that's Pojada every day. She trains at Dream Art with Izaki Bayense. Like, Yara's training there now. You know, Yara's got them. Yara's all tatted up.
I mean, yeah. So she got DQ'd, and his opponent got DQ'd. Was it like a headbutt, correct?
Mm-hmm.
And they said it was intentional.
I guess so. It's like, I didn't see the actual DQ when it happened. I saw a lot of going back and forth. You know, Gabi definitely apologized, or she said it wasn't intentional. No, she always, like, a good sport. But it was just like, they were really heated matches. They were amazing matches this weekend. So, you know.
When there's money on the line, the heat gets turned up.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And then Yara Suarez, her new teammate, is out there like making memes, like with the bride of Chucky. I was like, that's a great friend. That's a great training partner.
That means that they're close. My closest training partners make fun of me the worst. So when people talk trash, it doesn't hurt my feelings.
Yeah, that makes sense. Like, DJ's trying to drop instructionals straight to the Marcelo Garcia boys, you know, make that money off you.
Trying to.
So that was a great match. Yara Suarez also fought Gabi Passagna in the final, which is an amazing, amazing matchup. Always, they fought 2 times in Worlds. They fought in Abu Dhabi, and again, this was an awesome fight. And you got a chance to watch this one, right?
Yes, it was hotly contested. I think Gabby and Yara are one of the best, if not the best, rivalry going on right now in jiu-jitsu, just from the simple fact that they know each other super well. But contrary to what most rivalries in jiu-jitsu do, these guys are trying to kill each other. They go for the finish, and the only time I really see that is in the room with guys that I train with because of the familiarity, and I know that this person isn't going away. I'm not going to be able to technical my way out of it. I'm not going to be able to play my edges the way out of it. I'm not going to try to advantage them to death. I have to take this person out because at all times they are dangerous. And I think that's a testament to the everyday Pojada mentality. These ladies are everyday Pojada personified. They constantly have great matches. They could main event any event, and they would bring the heat. I enjoy watching them compete. They know how to do takedowns because I've seen Yara in the room, and I know Gabby knows takedowns. They have good guards. They have great passing. I saw a match that Gabby had on her run. Ironically, it was the same year that her and Yara fought twice. once in their weight class final and the other time in the open final,
Yeah.
and I watch how Gabby passes and it's next level. Male or female, she's one of the best guard passers. Yara is a beast, very strong, excellent guard. And when they get to these guard positions, whether it's a 50-50 or some kind of inverted position, they're still trying to sweep, they're still trying to submit. And I think it's an old school mentality and an old school style. So if you guys have a chance, go out of your way to watch them compete. Go on AJP Tour, watch, but also look at their old stuff, whether it's on Flow or on YouTube. I mean, I can't,
Most likely on
yeah,
Fabella Jiu-Jitsu
yeah.
YouTube. Yeah. Because I know both of them. So their fights are always so interesting. You know, Yara is trained here at TLI with us. And then she lived at the gym in Gigos. And now she's at Dream Art. And she's still training with Gigos like once a week. Gabi from the City of God trains at TMZ House. And she just has an amazing team. Like, they have so many athletes from that social project that travel to Pan Kids, to Pans, to Worlds. Gabby has so much competition experience. I feel like Gabby has the opportunity to compete a lot more than Yara, I would say. Would you think?
Yes, I would think so, yeah. Just she's always in the mix, and that's invaluable. There's no experience like competition experience. Uh, may I interject a little bit with some personal experience?
I was gonna ask some advice too. Yeah, go ahead. I was like, yeah.
When I was a purple belt coming up and brown belt, but a lot at purple belt, the crew, we used to compete all the time. It got to a point where you just get in a groove and there's no more competition jitters. You just get into a routine. And once you normalize the feeling of competing, once you normalize the routine, that makes you that much more dangerous because it becomes nothing to you. And I think the nerves go away too because you know that, all right, I might lose this time, but I got another competition coming up next. I'm just going to keep on going and going and going. And I think that is missed out upon with the pandemic. But even before that, you notice upper belts, black belts, they don't compete as often for whatever reason. It is expensive, and some people don't have the same opportunities. And I think that you're going to start seeing Gabby kind of take that next stride where she becomes super dominant, unless it's against Yara, because Yara is very good too. But over the competition, how can you keep up with someone that is always sharpening their blade, always perfecting it? And it's not like Gabby's going against tin cans. Every other week, she's going against the best of the best. And that's only going to make her more dangerous.
That was my question, actually. What do you do in that situation? How do you prepare for somebody if you are someone like Yara that might be equally good but doesn't have the same opportunity to compete or travel and train? I know Gabby is trained like in the U.S. She's going to Japan and train with Infight.
hmm If I'm going to prepare for someone like Gabby, I just have to optimize my training camp as much as possible. And since she's the Don Dada, she's the top. And Yara won, so we can argue that Yara's the top too. But if you're going against a top guy, you have to be focused on them being your target, and you have to replicate the stressors of training. Replicate the stressors of competition the same way that you would train. So if I'm going against Gabby, I had to take all the experience I had. I had to watch the footage and dissect what I did right, what I did wrong, what she did right, what she did wrong, and then come with a game plan and evolve. When JT Torres was still on Team Lloyd Irvin, and you hear Master Lloyd talk about this all the time, he had guys mimic the guys that JT was going to fight against. So he had Keenan mimicking Leandro Lowe. I know Master Lloyd watched countless hours of Lucas Lepre footage. And even though JT might not have competed as often as Gabby is now, they optimized the training to focus on the person that they had to beat. And that's the best thing that you can do. Now, in a perfect world, you do both. But if you can't compete consistently, you have to really double down on the studying.
Good points. That's amazing advice. Amazing advice. Thank you. All right, so next up on that card, amazing fights, May, Yara's training partner, also trained here at TLI with us. He ran through Yago George from Cicero Costa. And, like, notably, I don't know who anybody is, so I don't know who Yago George is, but the level of violence and aggression throughout that entire match was wild.
May's a wild man. I can't wait till they open up these borders so he can do a tour in the United States and just show everyone that he's about that action. If all the smoke was a person, that be May. He wants all the smoke. Does not give a damn. May is really exciting. I don't know how many of you guys that are listening or watching know who May is, but I promise you, if you watch a May match, your mind will be blown. You'll be thoroughly entertained, and he alone probably will be the one to make jiu-jitsu mainstream. Just put on his matches.
It's gonna be hard. If you think about May doesn't speak any English, and he has zero fucks to give about learning English. You know?
You know from experience.
You met him?
Yeah, he did. He just talks trash to Malachi Ednan.
Oh, yeah. But, and it's just because he's very dedicated. He's very focused, and that's why he's such an amazing athlete. Like, I remember, because he was here at TLI, and, like, he was with Yara, and Muhammad trains at TLI, but Muhammad don't live in that fight house, and I speak Portuguese, but other than that, zero communication. So at one point, May lost his glasses. For like 6 months, he was here with no glasses, couldn't see anything, was having the worst migraines. Like, and like, I remember like the day I found out, I was like, May, did you tell anybody? Like, knowing that he doesn't communicate in English. And he's like, I tried to. I was like, son, how you not have your glasses? Like, what are you doing? Like, he's like sitting there like, going late to training because he has a headache. I was like, yo, and for me that I have to work, like always, I can never just focus on training. Like, I need to be able to see. So I couldn't imagine how that child, he stayed and didn't get glasses till he fought Worlds and went home. Well, till he dominated at Worlds and then went home to find some eyes. Like,
that's wild, man. This man had no glasses for 6 months and still trained.
Yeah, he was just like, screw it. And the thing was, like, because he couldn't see right, he was getting migraines too. So, like, you know, it was hard for him. And that's how I found out. Because I was like, yo, like, why aren't you doing warm-ups? Because, you know, his attitude, you'd just be doing fuck all.
Yes.
But he wasn't. He really was having really bad migraines because he didn't have glasses. So it's just like that.
Yo, I didn't know that until you told me. And I just thought he was lazy, just super talented. But, like, yeah. He didn't have glasses. He had migraines. That's nuts now that I think about it, because he had some of the best rolls I've ever seen in camp. That I hope we have footage of those.
That would be amazing. Yeah. No, I do have his footage. Damn. Those some jail calls.
So you want?
Let me stop picking up the phone on the podcast. But yeah, so May's fight was amazing. Did you see the highlight or anything?
I saw May's highlights.
Yeah, he was awesome.
The way he just dismantles guys that are black belts, world-class level black belts, and they're like, wow, like, I don't, like, if you're the other guy's coach, what do you say? Like, what are you going to tell them? Like, we can do this next time, this next time. It's like, no, there's no light. There's no shining light. There's no, like, you did a good job here. No, it's over. Like, from beginning to end, dominance. You didn't have a chance. You did your thing perfect. He had a counter to it, and then he did his thing, and you have no answer for it. So, shout out to May. Shout out to Yara. Shout out to everyone that competed.
Yeah, finishing up, I don't have much details. Gilberto, he won his match. And then in 2 weeks, on the 26th, he's going to be doing the finals at BJJ Stars against Natan Chung, which really sucks. Because Natan is also a friend of mine. He's from the Cantagalo favela and fights under Cicero Costa. Natan was also in Brusques, but he lost his first match by an advantage, I think. So these guys are really out there trying to do their thing. And then 2 athletes from Today Kids Project were also there. So Buddha, I just got a call from my mentee that's in jail, and then Buddha was the one that was in jail before him that I had like, and now he's out and he's smoking people. So he had an amazing fight. He fights masters now, but he is also in Granada, I think. There's another AJP Tour in Gramada. So I guess this is how I found out the news. Like, I wouldn't have known that these people from Day Kids Project were there or been able to get the recordings of these fights if it wasn't for, like, BJJ Korea. She was letting me know, which was really dope. And that's how I was able to find the exact fights on the YouTube channel when they were happening.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it was an amazing, amazing round of fights.
I can't wait till they do that AJP in America again.
There's one in Miami coming up.
Ooh. Oh, man. Miami?
I think it's going to be like the 8th or the 10th of August. I think it's like right after I get back. So I was just like...
Just take the connecting flight to Miami, stop by there, watch some jiu-jitsu, and then come back to Cicadaville, Maryland.
Yeah, I have to have surgery. So I have an appointment. Well, I guess it's that Monday. I have an appointment with a consultation with an orthopedic surgeon.
Yikes.
That's a lot.
Man, you live that shit up in Brazil, man.
I'm going to try to.
Shit. So you want to talk a little bit about BJJ Stars? I'm pretty sure you're going to watch that event in person, right? You got to.
I don't even know, actually, because I don't want to make my life harder than it has to be. But I don't know. We got, like, Muhammad hit me up. Thanks for telling Muhammad that I have all this stuff in your place. Because
you're welcome. I'm always looking out for you, Nico.
Because nobody is trying to help me get this 240 pounds of stuff to Brazil. So I'm at the point where it's like, I'm going to do whatever I have to do to not stress out. So, like, I get there the week before the tour, and I have an Airbnb in Rio for 2 weeks, and it's like, I could fly down to Sao Paulo and watch the fights and fly back. I've been trying to find out because there's also Rio Winter Open in Rio, which is another competition, IBJJF.
Mm-hmm.
But as far as I can tell, like, nobody I know is able to get registered in time. So it's like, that's kind of pointless for me to go. So I might fly down to Sao Paulo, especially after talking to Muhammad, and we might partner up with, I might partner up not only with Muhammad, but with BJJ Stars to raise some money to pay to get all of this stuff down to Brazil. And in that case, like, I would go down. Also, I just looked up the fight card, and it was amazing. So let me read out this fight card to you.
It's a banger.
First off, we have Patrick Glaudio versus Felipe Pena. That will be in a gi. Lucas Barbosa versus Mateus Dines. I stopped paying attention to the gi and no gi because I was focused on Muhammad Ali versus Yuri Simoes, which will be no gi. That's going to be amazing. We got an old school match, Michael Langley versus Claudio Cardosa. Tainan versus Atos Miranda, and Nathan Chang versus Lucas Gilberto. Then we also have the ladies. Hannah Rodriguez is supposed to be going out there with her 4 stitches. Dang, how's them 4 stitches going to affect this final?
That might be, I mean, you get busted open in the middle of the match. It's like DQ basically because those are stitches unless they close up in time.
And then she's supposed to be going against Dina Senna. Blanca Basilia will be facing Gabriela Fletcher. So we got to switch up in that. And then Yara's old training partner, Isabella Cristina, versus Ingrid Alves.
Wow.
So, yeah, it's like a really dope card. So I might have to fly down to Sao Paulo for the weekend and then fly back up.
I've been training with Muhammad lately for his match with Yuri Simoes. I think that's going to be match of the night.
That's going to be an amazing match.
It's going to be an incredible match. I'm really looking forward to it. I love seeing Muhammad compete just because I joked about this, but I'm serious. If Muhammad wanted to, he could probably play defensive end for an NFL team just because he's so athletic. And even now, he hasn't been training like we used to back in the day. He's still a phenomenal athlete, and he's super technical, and he's learning new stuff. You know, we started working together again, and he's so young. You know,
I always forget how young he is.
He's very mature, and you know the way he carries himself is like an old man, but he's a very young man. Like the sky's the limit for him. I know he's focused on becoming a millionaire, and hell, me too. However, if he decided to just say, "I'm back in the game," there's no way that anyone could stop him. Yuri Simoes is a 2-time ADCC champion. He's focused on MMA right now, but he's still a beast. I'm excited to see that match. Patrick Gaudio versus Felipe Pena. That's going to be insane. And the other one that caught my eye was Lucas Hulk Barbosa versus Mateus Diniz. Like, I'm curious to see how that can go. I would give the edge to Hulk right now, but Mateus Diniz always turns up in Showtime. When the lights are on and it's intense, he always rises to the occasion. He beat Craig Jones. He dominated Craig Jones in ADCC final, and I was very thoroughly impressed because, Craig Jones is very tricky style. He's been catching people. Mateus shut all that down. So, man, I gotta get this schedule squared away, man. I gotta get down there, man.
I mean, if you're not going to Atlanta till mid-August, you might as well just make the plan to fly down to, yeah.
Who's trying to get me flued out? Who's trying to fly me out? Anybody watching? I'm trying to get flued out.
So are you retired, Tim?
Am I retired? I mean, officially, yeah. I haven't gotten any contracts in my email yet. Why? Why you ask, Nico?
Oh, we'll take that to a Patreon and when there's a contract. And then, just to the fact that sometimes...
Sometimes what?
Because I remember, texting Tim and be like, yo, Tim, somebody told me something. I'll text him in the morning and Tim won't answer. And I'll be like, come on, Tim, answer. I was like, I can't keep texting him. He's not my boyfriend. I can't be mad. Tim, why I gotta find out from Flow Grappling? Why Flow Grappling in my DMs telling me about you, Tim?
Save that for Patreon. But exactly. I will say this. I don't purposely ignore your calls. It's just that now that I have things on the horizon, I'm very busy, Nico. It may not seem like...
I get busy too, so okay, I understand. Listen, that's why I just sit there and I laugh. And I was like, I know he's busy. I'm busy. I was let me just wait while I get
Plus, when you text me, I'll be like, oh, shit, I forgot to do something show-related, didn't I? Even though, I'll be on the computer all day doing stuff, like editing videos. I gotta say, I'm actually not bad at it now. I'm pretty good.
No, you got your little come up.
I got a little come up going, but yeah, I got some stuff on the horizon.
Why am I on my phone? What am I looking for?
I don't know.
Something show related.
It's nothing show related.
It was something show related.
All right. Well, while you're looking for that, I'm gonna talk a little bit about how and why I changed my training protocol. Is that okay?
Yeah, because does that relate to your retirement? I don't know. Yeah, I saw that. I was like, yeah. I was salty when I saw that on the outline. I was like, well, maybe he's not retiring. Maybe that. Go ahead.
Well, as far as the retirement talk goes, I'm going to go more in detail on the Patreon, which you guys can see on patreon.com/BJJ Goons. We have 3 tiers: little homie, big homie, and certified goon. So I'm going to go more in detail about that. But what I will say is, now that I am retired, I changed my training regimen a lot from when I was coming up. So when I was coming up, I always thought more is better. And what's better than better is more. So
the most?
Yes. More. And I would train nonstop all day. I'd wake up in the morning. I would teach at Crazy 88 when I taught there. Then I would lift weights. Then I would teach again, and after I was done teaching, I would train, do the sparring. Then later on in the day, I would do more teaching and train. So that's 3 different training sessions in probably about a 12, 14-hour period throughout the day. But I was in my early 20s, and, you could get hit by a car, and then the next day you'd be okay.
Oh, yeah.
And then when I got my brown belt, I started training with Master Lloyd in Camp Springs, and that's when it got really intense because the training intensity went up just by virtue of the way we train on Team Lloyd Irvin, especially at headquarters. And I would wake up in the morning, I'd go train, and it'd be hard training sessions. When we had Greg Howe as our wrestling coach there, it was crazy because when I got there, we do stadium steps, and the gym is 3 levels. Not the gym, but the building it's in. So we go from the basement, first story, second story, third story, then down again, and just up and down, up and down, up and down. And it's not just a few laps up and down. It's several minutes, and not 15 minutes. Not even 30. Sometimes it was 40 minutes, 45 minutes. It just felt like forever. But it wasn't some little Rocky movie where they just go up the steps and down. Like this was a long ass time going up and down the steps. Some days we'd even have a partner on our back going up and down. It was crazy. And then we do the wrestling. And I don't know, I can't remember the exact quote, but it's like an old Greek philosopher said something about wrestlers being the strongest athletes. It's true. Wrestling is freaking hard. Now imagine you're doing this with Gabi, Herb Santos, and Muhammad Ali. I'm the smallest person in the group.
Yo, you and DJ have small man complex, but that's
I'm
already been on Patreon.
I'm the smallest person in the group. DJ wasn't there.
I'm the smallest person in the group.
But you wasn't there.
But it's like you're not a small. Fine.
I'm
whatever,
not a small person,
whatever.
but what I'm
you
saying is it's hard.
Complex, but okay, I understand it's hard.
Right.
But like, I consider you and Muhammad to be like.
Because you're like 100 pounds. Of course, you think we're giant. Like, yeah, I'm pretty sure. Yeah. Okay, we're giant human beings. We're just superhuman. But anyway, we're doing wrestling, right? And then after wrestling, we're doing jiu-jitsu. And we're not like, you know, oh, nice and flowy. Oh, we're drilling. No, we're doing real live rounds, like real wrestling.
If you don't believe
jiu-jitsu.
them, go watch ADCC 2019, where two teammates duke it out
but
when
listen,
they should have just been faking a fight to get to the final. So yeah, you can imagine how it is.
How do we negotiate that? We talked about this on the Patreon. I'm not going to.
We did.
But how do we negotiate that is a question. Like, how do we pick? I'm not gonna rock, paper, fucking scissors.
Yeah, but the fact of the matter is, so yeah, they'd love to go hard.
Yes, hard. And now, like younger version of us, like with no pain, no regard for human life, including our own. Then I go home after practice. This is like from 10 to like 1:30. That's how many hours, Nico?
To 1:30? Like
1:30, yeah.
To like 5. Don't hit me with math questions, son.
And then when I come home, I rest for a little bit, but I had to teach. Then I go train again from like 7:30, 8 o'clock to, you know how Master Lloyd goes. We'd be there till like 11 o'clock at night. This is every day.
He'd be like 5 minutes shorty at 10 o'clock.
Yo, listen.
11:05 time.
It's like this every day for 3 to 4 years.
In your early 20s.
No, it was my mid-20s. I was like 25.
I could take it at 25. I think at like 27.
That's about the time when it just, the wheels fell off. And my little cousin plays soccer. And he's like, oh, you know, it's not a grind. I love playing soccer. And he's very good, right? He's very good. Like national level. And I said, like, well, when you go to a certain level, maybe if you ever are lucky enough to get to a high level in your sport, you're going to get to a certain level where it's a grind. And I say this, no hyperbole. I went to the equivalent, the jiu-jitsu equivalent of SEAL Team 6 training for jiu-jitsu. That's what it was like. Because the drive, the fact that you're training those long hours, the intensity, and the level of the guys that you're training with. There was, at one point, 3 black belt world champions training together every single day like that.
There's not a person that's gone to a good team, like, and not talked about how, like, they cried. Like, if you talk about, like, Talus, he's like, oh, I went to Cicero Costa and cried. I think, like, anybody that's gone anywhere has got there and cried.
It's just one of some days, like, you just, well, not some, it was really one. One day it's like, and I was hurting, like, I was hurt.
If you don't cry or throw up, you're not training correctly. But now, do you agree with that mentality training now? Because as we're talking about how you train or how you change your training.
Well, I think that everyone needs to go through it at least one point in their life. And I'll say this, once I got through the SEAL team training for jiu-jitsu, I broke. It was like this thing where like you get to this tipping point and there's like a breaking point and you break. You literally, figuratively, mentally, spiritually, somehow break. But if you stick through it, past that point, you get like God tier level understanding of whatever you could do. It could be guitar for all I care. But you get to this God tier level where you're elite. There's no going back. you could take a break or whatever, but you are a master at some. Now there's level of mastery, but you've reached mastery level where, like, I could go to any gym in the country, taking time off, and you just there's a level that people will never make. But you have to break down, like you have to go beyond normal human levels of suffering to make it. And you have to have people willing to take you there and have the ability to take you there and make you good. Now anybody can train hard and get broken, but to train correctly and take them to the edge, break them, and then still push through and make it to that God tier level, it's very rare. So that's how it was. Now, after me waking up one morning and not being able to stand up straight and being bent over like a seven, pause, after having several injuries.
There was zero pause there. That was a complete run on my
After that, and realizing there's no way I'm going to be able to continue to do this, and I don't want to take vitamin S, I knew that I had to change things up. Okay.
Steroids.
Yeah.
He's talking about steroids, ladies and gentlemen.
So what I decided to do was focus more on having one solid jiu-jitsu session every day. One solid session. And make it technical and physically demanding. A nice workout, but I want to get better. Because I already broke myself. I already went through SEAL team training for jiu-jitsu. I don't need to do that no more. I want to improve and maintain my physical prowess. I don't want to break myself down to that point anymore. And then around it, I started lifting weights more. I focused more on, rehab and prehab, and then studying film. And what I ended up learning was I improved technically. I still am physically able to train at a high level without having to take time off from injuries or recovering. And I'm learning more jiu-jitsu. And I'm just overall happier. And at the end of the day, your mental well-being and your happiness is what's going to see you make the fastest and largest leaps. Because if you're mentally broke down, you can't do that forever. I would never do what I did from the ages of, well, I'd never do it again. Let's just say that. I would, if I had to go back in time, I would go through it, but that only lasts probably 2 years. I did it from 2014 to 2016-ish. So that's 3 whole years.
That's a lot. Yeah, I kind of did the same thing when I was in Brazil. About 3 years of really hard, intense training. Because I would train at least jiu-jitsu 2 times a day, maybe 3. But then I also always had to lift weights because I was so small. So I was doing like 3 to 4 trainings a day when I was just doing jiu-jitsu.
Mm-hmm.
And then when I started doing MMA, like I had to train no-gi, I had to train in-a-gi, I had to train wrestling, I had to train boxing, I had to go to pro MMA sparring. The only way I could do any normal MMA was to go at like night to a random amateur class, which was alright because it was with a boxing coach, but it was still different.
Mm-hmm.
And then lifting weights. So that's 8 sessions that I had to manage with, like, and like that's the thing, like if you don't have a coach, if you don't have anybody to guide you, which I didn't, other than maybe like Claudia, and that's not her job. Claudia was a fighter, but like, Claudia, also Poliana Botella, who's also in the UFC, like that was my little clique. Like without those two, I didn't have anybody. Like you had 8 coaches. Marola too, actually. He's that big ref for IBJJF. He goes everywhere. Marola, Andre Marola from Novo União. That man used to look out for me in ways like he didn't have to, because he also did like all of the he did all the conditioning for when anybody had a professional fight. But then at the same time, like if it was like Claudia or Jose or Hernan or Junior Dos Santos, like it didn't matter, like he still also did my conditioning and he took that time, like even knowing that I was still amateur. Like, so shout out to Marola, like he really looked out for me. But that's a lot. Like if you have to like manage 8 trainings and you don't know what you're doing, like I think of, some of the young guys that show up at TLI, and like if you were to be in that situation in Rio, that's exactly how you start doing steroids and all this kind of crazy stuff to try to maintain and keep up.
Yeah. I just have PTSD thinking about it. I would never do it again. Like I said, guys, if you're gonna do something like that, just know it's for a good time, not for a long time.
Yeah, shit. I'll always remember there was one time, because, yo, I'm a kickboxer. Like, my jiu-jitsu sucked when I went to Brazil. And there was this one girl, Luciana, and I'll call her out because everybody knows we didn't get along, but she's your size, son. And I got pictures of us because she used to come to the boxing ring. There's this famous boxing gym in Rio, and Coach Claudio Coelho, and like all the major MMA teams go there to train. But this boxing academy is at the top of the Cantagalo favela where I live. So it's like my neighborhood. It's at the top of my neighborhood. So like she'd come there and like, I don't know, she always would like have beef with me. And I didn't really realize, but we would be sparring, like, cause you also have to be accepted into the boxing sparring there. And like people from Novo União or Rio Fighters or different gyms would go there to do the sparring with like Master Claudio. And people would always be giving me all this extra help. And I was like, what is all this? He was like, yeah, she be talking shit. And I was like, why? Like, but yeah, I just remember I was in the Shark Tank at MMA sparring one time, and then like somebody out there, because again, if you don't have a click, then you don't have a coach while you're in there, and you're doing like three rounds with like, or 5 rounds with people switching out every minute. I just remember somebody being like, yo, take her down. And then Luciana took me down, and they were just like fucking me up on the ground. I was like, yo, who's here to help me? Like, what am I supposed to do once she takes me down? How do I get out of this position? And it was like nobody. They were just like, yeah, just watch me get my ass beat.
Damn. Cold-blooded. Cold-blooded.
Yeah.
Damn.
But I mean, it is what it is. Like, I never regretted those times as much. That shit would piss me off, but like it was just a matter of like, all right, now I need to go figure out what I did wrong and how to get better. But it's really hard. Like Master Lloyd would never let something like that happen. Like if that happened, and even if I got my ass, he would definitely let you get your ass beat. I'm sorry, but he would tell you what happened wrong afterwards. You would get all the constructive criticism.
All of the constructive.
All of it.
All of it. And it would be solicited.
You know?
Solicited advice, unlike last week's unsolicited advice. But check it. On that note, let's wrap it up. Nico, where can we find you?
Make sure to follow me at NoNoNico on Instagram, and slide on over to favelajujitsu.com or the Favela Jiu-Jitsu YouTube channel, because I have been uploading these fights from the AJP Tour, seeing as I am the bootleg queen.
Yes. And you can find me at Tim Spriggs BJJ on Instagram or Facebook. And you can find us always at patreon.com/BJJ Goons. This has been the BJJ Goons podcast. Peace.